G'day.
Evening all. And sorry about that.
Oh, hey, why apologise for being Australian? What are you talking about?
We are going to review the entire Lethal Weapon franchise tonight, which is why he's talking like this, because
Rog, grab the cat.
we didn't realise that Mel Gibson's Australian accent really, especially in the first two movies, is quite prominent.
Yeah, well, and the third one, if you actually watch, they call the English American accent, like the English accent in America, the Pan-Atlantic.
Yeah,
Would ours be Pan-Pacific?
I guess so, yeah.
Or Pan-Indian?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, Pan-Pacific. So,
yeah, so it'd be Pan-Indian.
Mm.
The Aussie accent of Mel Gibson in these films is something to behold. We don't talk like that. I mean, you've heard us. We talk pretty, would you say educated Australian? Would you say that, dear?
I wouldn't go so far as to say educated Australian, but I guess...
Suburban Australian.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't say g'day, mate.
Well, I say mate at work.
Yeah,
but that's it.
Kind of...
This is a cultural context for you guys because Mel Gibson in this film, I mean, I really wish they had had a moment in the original script or the original film, the first film, where they said that Riggs had grown up in Australia but had been born in America and went back there because he's a citizen.
Much like Mel Gibson.
They should have done that because it would have been not only a better footnote for the character, but it would have explained his accent. Because
I mean, it's probably something that American viewers don't notice.
Really?
Because...
tell us, though. Tell us.
Let us know.
Please tell
in
us
the comments
if you
did notice. But yeah, I think it's like Nicole Kidman in most of her movies. Her Australian accent
shines through.
Oh,
look, we can't watch those.
In Batman Forever, it was...
it was terrible. We notice it. I mean, you guys might not, but we notice it because we know these guys as Australian actors in soapies or soap operas. Sorry.
We also obviously are familiar with the particular inflections of certain words. So when you hear them, it's like, oh, hang on, that was in our accent.
Well, when he goes, Rog, grab the cat.
Yeah.
You know, when he says cat.
Exactly.
You know, it's almost American.
Yeah.
But cat.
Yeah.
You know, it's Australian.
I think it's like Raj, grab the cat.
Yeah, it's Raj, grab the cat.
So it starts off American.
Yeah.
We
have to dissect this because it's really...
It was quite distracting.
But it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing. To me, Lethal Weapon is a perfect Christmas movie.
Yes.
And if you think that Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, oh boy, I'm sure you've got a problem with Lethal Weapon being a Christmas movie.
Sorry to tell you guys, they are both not only Christmas movies, but Christmas classics.
Yes.
And Lethal Weapon is not only a perfect Christmas movie, it's probably a perfect action movie and probably the best buddy cop movie that has ever been made.
What have we got to compare to? Last Boy Scout, which is another Shane Black film, A Long Kiss Goodnight,
Die
Hard, almost.
Die Hard 3, anyway.
Die Hard 3.
Yeah.
Which is a good film. It's not a great film.
Technically a buddy cop movie, but
it's a buddy film.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3, ironically, Shane Black film.
Beverly Hills Cop.
No, that's a trio.
Rush Hour.
Oh, that's a terrible movie.
Yeah. So,
but seriously though, if you look at Iron Man 3, you can see there's a lot of Riggs and Murtaugh.
Oh yeah,
in that film,
definitely.
And I love that about Iron Man 3. That's I think probably the most peak realised Shane Black Christmas movie. But anyway,
back to Lethal Weapon.
Yay.
We'll start with the original, and I think the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The original Lethal Weapon.
Okay, so you have Murtaugh, who's just turned 50, and he's feeling old. Now, I can relate to Murtaugh in very, very many... See, we say Murtaugh in Australia, but in America you say Murtaugh. And he is just turned 50. This is his birthday. The film starts on his birthday, and he has got grey on the temples. And in real life, Danny Glover was only 42 when he did the film.
And you can tell because he looks magnificent.
Yes, he does. He's got a great physique,
yeah.
bitch. And his family comes in, while he's having a bath, which I've always thought was weird, come in, bring his birthday cake in, and he's like, you hear the saxophone as he feels, get rid of the beard because he's got a beard, and then you next see him. Yeah, and then you see him, he's got just a moustache, which is a character.
Also quite aging, I thought.
The beard was awful.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful, but...
The moustache is more aging.
Yeah, he should have gone with a tidier beard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he basically doesn't have a character, and so he's he doesn't have a partner. So he goes to a homicide, or what thinks is a homicide, which is actually a suicide. So they're confused whether it's a homicide or a suicide, and he sees this young woman who the film starts off with seeing her jump out of a building, which is one of the best shots in any action film ever.
Boobs.
I was actually thinking of the falling down.
He wasn't. He was thinking of boobs.
I was. And then you see her fall on the car and everything like that. So he is told that he's getting a new partner. Now, he's in the cop station. He's like, I don't want a partner. And he sees this guy out of the corner of his eye, and he's like, this guy looks a bit sus.
He's not dressed in a suit.
He's dressed like a slob, really.
Well, it's not a slob. He's casually dressed.
For 80s.
He's wearing
80s cop attire.
Designer jeans and leather cowboy boots.
Yes.
And a cotton shirt.
This turns out to be
smart casual.
The most attractive Australian that's ever been on cinema.
Those baby blues.
Yes, Mel Gibson, who is Martin Riggs, and Murtaugh goes and tackles him to the ground, and he learns through a quite comedic bit that this is a new partner.
Yeah, and it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yes,
we learn through a couple of scenes that Riggs is suffering from trauma. His wife is recently deceased.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Well, it's still pretty recent.
Yeah.
Killed in a car accident, and he is suffering without her, and he's suicidal, and he, almost commits suicide in one scene.
But he doesn't.
Yeah, so we're introduced to this character who's
a lethal weapon.
Lethal weapon, because he's an ex-war veteran.
A Green Beret. Yeah, and he's basically taught in Kung Fu.
Yeah,
so Kung Fu shit.
Both
moves.
in fighting style and as a marksman.
A sniper. Yeah.
So
what a setup. What a great setup.
It is an awesome setup. The bad guys in this movie.
Oh, okay. So it's Gary Busey as Mr. Joshua.
Back before Gary Busey had a head injury and what didn't look crazy.
What was it? Mechanical Lions. Yeah. And you've got Mitch Ryan. Sorry, Mitchell Ryan. He's actually he's the main protagonist.
Yeah.
Can't remember his character's name, because it's been a couple of weeks since we saw the film. So he's the main bad guy. And you've got Hochstetter, Michael Hochstetter, who's the father of the girl who jumps out a window at the beginning.
So
now,
they're peddling drugs in this one?
Spoiler, yeah. What happens is Michael Hochstetter is in league with Mr. Joshua and his boss, and what it is they... Hunsucker. They're old army buddies, including Roger, who was an old army buddy of Hunsucker, and they've got a heroin deal, which is from their Vietnam days to now they're still in league with each other, and he basically wants Murtaugh to kill the bad guys. Hunsucker wants him to kill the bad guys, and it's basically they will investigate to see who killed her or who gave her the drugs that she killed herself on, and stop them in any way, shape, or form.
And in doing so and investigating the case, the bad guys get wind of it basically, and they start threatening them, and they eventually kidnap Murtaugh's daughter Rianne. And all hell breaks loose.
Yep. And this is the only film we're going to tell you the main plot of,
Yeah.
because it is literally watch them.
Yeah.
Don't even, waste your time watching any other movie.
It
Watch
sounds like
these
a very
movies.
simple premise, and it is, but
It's just done so well. I mean, the director of this is Richard Donner. Now, if you know us, you know that Superman is our sort of like touchstone to our childhoods. It's our favorite superhero film. And I say our, I mean, we both might have individual ones, but it's like this is the film that is sort of like the sort of pin drop in our childhoods that basically made us believe a man could fly. And that's because of Richard Donner, the director. He directed The Omen before that, and he also directed The Goonies before this. And he's also a producer on one of my favourite films, The Lost Boys. And that was a film that he produced before this. And Lethal Weapon is basically a film that he directed, and he sort of shepherded through production with the script by Shane Black. Now, Shane Black has done The Nice Guys, was a script doctor on Die Hard. He wrote and directed Iron Man 3, did The Predator. It was in Predator as an actor, and also they kept him on set to actually rewrite the script.
Yeah.
So they thought, may as well give him a film role as well. And yeah, he's, to me, him and Fred Dekker wrote two of my favorite films, which is Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps. To me, he's like my favorite writer in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Him and Kevin Williamson, should get together and write a movie.
I mean, not all of Shane Black's movies are fantastic. Don't like Predators. But this is definitely one of his best, if not his best. What would you give it out of 10?
This film?
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
Well, are you even asking the question?
Yeah. There's a reason we go back to it every year as a Christmas classic. It's a 10 out of 10. It is the movie that other buddy cop movies steal off of and want to be.
Yeah.
It's a movie that many action movies steal off of and want to be.
And even the later Die Hard movies steal off of. Yes. Okay, so next up,
Lethal Weapon 2.
Okay, so it's about a year or so later.
I think it's exactly a year later.
It is. Well, no, it's Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
So it's just less than a year later.
Yeah.
And at the end of Lethal Weapon, Murtaugh and Riggs are mates, and Murtaugh gets Riggs to come to Christmas dinner with the family.
By the time the second movie starts, he's basically part of the family now. He's invited over to dinner all the time.
His wife Trish does his laundry.
Does his laundry, and it's pretty clear that he's healed quite a lot from his trauma because he's found a new family.
Yeah, and it's they both helped each other. I think Murtaugh doesn't feel as old and worn out, and because Riggs is giving him a little bit of life, and Riggs is definitely using the family as a crutch, but an actual needed crutch and a welcome crutch.
But we think we're going to forget about Riggs's history with his wife and everything, but it is brought back into this movie. We won't say how, but
they basically get involved with South African drug runners and
this is happening in the middle of apartheid.
Yeah, which, as we all remember, who were there, was a very volatile time in South Africa's history, and
obviously there's a lot of racial tension, and that's discussed and made fun of quite a bit.
And in this one, they actually introduced a new character called Leo Getz. Leo Getz. You get it? Leo Getz. Whatever you want, Leo Getz.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's in the
very
third
divisive character, apparently.
I actually like him in part 2.
I think Leo's a great addition to the character. He's
character to the film.
He's not originally a good guy. He's sort of brought in as a
he's
a witness.
He's a witness to the crimes because he's actually the accountant that launders all the money for the South African bad guys.
So Murtaugh and Riggs are sort of tasked with protecting him,
babysitting. Yeah, really,
until it goes to trial.
And they don't babysit very well.
Does not go well
because they fuck you at the drive-through. Okay, so the rest of the film goes on. Riggs actually finds a new love interest, which we actually like her because
Yeah.
she's actually a good character.
Yeah, she's
and
lovely.
and things happen. We won't spoil it.
Yeah, but
and we
Riggs
learn.
learns about his past in investigating these
No,
characters.
don't mention it. Yeah, I know he does, but you don't have to tell people that. Just let them watch it. Okay, so
You ruin it more by doing that. You realise?
I do know. Yeah. Okay, so it's a bigger film in budget and scale. It has it's still the same cinematographer, Stephen Goldblatt, and Shane Black wrote it, but he wrote it very much darker and sort of spoilers. Riggs in the original version actually dies in the end of the film, and cinema goers, when it was doing test screenings, hated
Did not like that at all.
So they did change it, and Riggs doesn't die in the film. Spoiler, but look, it's Lethal Weapon. It was made in 1989.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But
It's kind of not really a spoiler when you know there's a third and a fourth installment.
exactly,
Anyway.
and they star all the same characters.
Yep.
And the Shane Black sort of like was not happy that to change any of the story that he wrote, so they got Jeffrey Boehm, who wrote Lost Boys, and to come in and do the script. And so for the third film, Lethal Weapon 3, Shane Black did not write it at all.
No, and you can tell.
You can really tell.
What are we giving Lethal Weapon 2 out of 10 first?
Lethal Weapon 2, I'd give it an 8.
I would agree, an 8 out of 10. It's not...
Lethal Weapon?
Yeah. It's probably... The pacing is a little bit off. It drags a little bit around the second half.
I noticed in the scenes with the South Africans in the office, a little bit not really evenly edited very well.
Yeah.
But still, I still love the film.
I believe there was a lot that was changed in those scenes.
It'd be good to see a different version.
Yeah, I think it had to do with...
The racial stuff?
Yeah, they had to take out some of it. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you can kind of see, but it's still a really, really enjoyable movie.
It is, and it's a great film. And then we have now Lethal Weapon 3.
Yeah, as we were saying, is not quite in the same league.
No, I used to think this was the best one because I had the poster of this one on my wall when I was growing up. It was always my favourite because it was most glossy. Cinematography is by Jan de Bont, who did Speed, directed Speed, and he also did Die Hard 1, and so it was very much a favourite. And watching it this Christmas, we just watched it over the Christmas period. I just noticed it was very lacking.
Yeah,
very lacking.
Yeah,
and it's mostly to do, hate to say it, with Leo and his new love interest.
Yeah.
I just found it very...
Oh, I don't know.
She's not bad, but I just found it very forced.
No, I didn't find... I actually liked the love interest side of things because we've got Rene Russo comes in as an officer from Internal Affairs, and the character was originally supposed... Yeah, Lorna Cole. Her character was actually originally supposed to be played by another man, don't know who, but they changed it and made a love interest for Riggs, which I actually thought was fantastic.
I won't say that it's forced. What I'll say is it feels less in line with Riggs's character, because we know in the second one he falls in love and stuff like that, and that doesn't work out. But in this one, it's sort of like he completely abandons Victoria, like his wife. They don't really mention his past, and sort of like he's just another action guy with falling in love with someone.
That's true. They do sort of throw his past aside a little bit, which they make up for in the fourth movie.
They do actually really well. I thought it actually works better than this time around.
Yeah, that is true. But their chemistry is amazing.
It is. And Rene Russo with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen Thomas Crown Affair?
But the way they wrote her character as she's sort of a no-nonsense internal affairs, agent on the surface, but underneath you learn that she's
a freak.
She's sassy. She's a freak. She kicks ass, and she's very much Riggs's equal in that way. He needs that kind of strong women because he's a nutcase
Yeah.
himself.
But
So
I just thought it
that's
was
great.
very, although it's perfect for him to have that as a character, as a partner and in life, I just found it very like, it was almost like Riggs probably in part one probably wouldn't have responded to someone like her. It shows growth of the character, but I don't think that he would have in part one responded to someone who's so much like him.
I know. In one way, it makes sense, like following the growth of his character. But I think you're right in that it lacks the nuance. Yeah.
It just lacked nuance, and
And
which
I
is sad.
100% agree that Leo was cringeworthy. As much
So
as I like
cringeworthy in
Leo
the
as
third
a
one.
character, they shoehorned him in because
He's a real estate agent in the third one.
Yeah.
In the second one, he was a criminal who was an accountant, and he didn't go to jail.
No, he's
for
not real estate. He's a private investigator.
Private investigator
In this one.
Was he? I thought he was private investigator in the fourth one. He's private investigator in the fourth one.
No, because he's selling their house in the fourth one.
No, he's selling that in the third one.
See, it's interchangeable.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like in the second one, he's a criminal and he's an accountant for these things. So why is he able then to become a real estate agent where you need a license?
Yeah.
In LA, anywhere you need a license to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be able to get a license.
Yeah, they shoehorned him in for comic relief, and he's funny. And again, it's something that they improve upon in the fourth movie.
Yeah, they do.
With his character.
Everything is improved in the fourth film.
Yeah.
Except for the relationship between Riggs and Lorna.
Yeah.
Is sort of, although their relationship blooms, it's sort of like the actual interactions are put in the back burner. But we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. But this movie is all about...
It's glossy.
Yeah, it's glossy, but it's about illegal guns.
Getting on the streets,
getting on the streets, and affecting the youth.
And Murtaugh's son Nick has a very good friend who is getting caught up in gangs and stuff like that, and so it's directly affecting Murtaugh's family.
So the storyline is great. It's just not.
It's so ham-fisted.
Yeah, it is. It's very ham-fisted and
it's like,
lacks
don't
nuance.
do drugs, kids. Don't go near guns, kids.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's too preachy.
Yeah, exactly. There would have been a really dark and gritty way of handling that.
Absolutely.
And they didn't go that
Jeffrey
way, unfortunately.
Boehm is a great writer. He did my favourite vampire film, so I got to say that. But this film does not in any way show his skills at all as a writer. It just seems like I'm going to get a paint by numbers screenplay, and this is like going from A to B to C to D, and like it hits every beat that's like very generic.
Yeah.
And it almost becomes a parody of itself in the third one, because they do a lot of the stuff is like when you see Murtaugh like roll his eyes and you hear the saxophone, sort of like in the original film, it's sort of like you get it because he's getting old.
Yeah.
And this one he's like, they don't even mention that he's getting older.
It's done for a purpose in the first two movies. In the third one, it's like, ba-dum-tsh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What would you give this one out of 10?
I'd give this one probably about a 6.
Yeah, again, 6. It's slightly better than halfway because it is action-packed and glossy, and there are some genuinely fun moments, especially with Lorna and Riggs as they get to know each other.
Yeah. They parody the Jaws scene with the scars.
Yeah.
Well, not parody, but they sort of riff on that, and it's very well done.
Yeah. Quite sexy, actually. Yeah. And the fourth movie.
Okay, so in the fourth movie, we have the most convoluted plot of the entire series.
Yeah.
However, it's actually, watching it again, I actually didn't mind it.
The baseline theme of this movie is family and aging, because Riggs is finally getting on in years by the fourth installment.
And he doesn't have his long hair anymore.
No.
That's a big thing that is the biggest character change in Riggs. Is he doesn't have long hair. He's about to become a father because Lorna is pregnant and they're still not married. And Murtaugh is about to become a grandfather with Rianne actually having become pregnant, but they don't know who the father is. But that's sort of swept under the carpet. Like, you'd think that they'd want to know, but no one actually tells Murtaugh who the dad is. And you think, as a dad, You'd actually want to
You
know.
want to know, yeah.
So it's like sort of like, but it's sort of like, just a thing. So what happens is in the MacGuffin of the piece is about illegal immigration and counterfeiting, and that's the sort of it's about a Chinese gang triad who have infiltrated the city, and it's sort of like illegal immigration, because what they do is they come across this boat, and this that sort of like illegally comes into the harbour in LA harbour and crashes, and they sort of have a big gunfight and all that kind of stuff with these people, and they find all these sort of refugees and it's like, oh, hold on. So what it is they're illegal immigrants, and so that's really the big crux of the storyline. And then secondary to that is the counterfeiting that's going on from Uncle Benny, a local sort of triad boss who's imported these people. And it reminded me of Die Hard 2 when, you got the guy coming from overseas, and then you've got them trying to infiltrate and get him to safety. Sort of like the whole thing is to get him. It's sort of like the whole reason why Uncle Benny and all is doing this, and is because there's this leader of the triad that is actually from China, who's Jet Li, and he is actually sort of like the main threat to everyone. His brother is actually a part of the deal to get these illegal immigrants in. So if they can get him in and sort of go under the radar, then they can sort of create their family illegal counterfeiting empire in LA. Really convoluted. I'm sorry.
It is. It's convoluted, and worse than that, it would appear
forced.
that it's a forced storyline to justify having a kung fu movie.
Yeah,
because they really, really wanted Jet Li.
Really
for this
wanted
movie,
Jet Li.
And I can see why.
Jet Li's actually really
he's
good.
Fantastic in this movie.
It's actually good to see Jet Li as a bad guy again, because he hasn't been a bad guy for such a long time, and then all of a sudden he was the bad guy, and he kicks ass in this movie.
He really does, and you can see he's one of the best action stars of his time, but you can see that that's what they were trying to do. It's not really about the immigration or about the triad and the counterfeit money. It's about having scenes with kung fu fighting.
And the thing is, like,
great scenes of kung fu fighting, sure, but that's what it's about. And it's so on the nose that you've got your really bad Asian music in the background as people are running down the street. You kind of racist sort of yeah. It's
well, one of the things that we all know is that Die Hard 3 started out as a script called Simon Says, and originally they were going to try and get Simon Says as Lethal Weapon 4, but years went on, and Die Hard decided, well, the producers of Die Hard, Joel Silver, who's also the producer of this, decided, we'll go Die Hard with a Vengeance, and that made that Simon Says. So there's a little bit of this sprinkled through this film, but with that, you can actually tell that in Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, that it was a different film before it was a Die Hard movie. You can tell, you can almost see where they've cut and pasted the different scripts and all that. This is very similar. You can actually see where it says, we need a scene with Uncle Benny. We need a scene where Riggs and Murtaugh go along to the Chinese restaurant and be racist and all that, and then smash a window and create some chaos for them because they need to do this deal to be a credible threat to Uncle Benny, which they're really not.
And it's clearly not the main theme. The main theme of this movie is family. And when they're talking about family, when we have those scenes, that is the most interesting part of the movie.
Especially when Lorna and Riggs are talking about marriage and things like that. You actually feel like these are real people.
And we were saying how in Lethal Weapon 3 they gloss over the death of Riggs's wife and his trauma and reluctance to get into new relationships because of that. You don't see any of that in Lethal Weapon 3, but at the end of this movie, he's toying with whether or not he should propose to Lorna or if they should get married.
And he's still got his ring on
Yeah,
his
and
finger.
he's talking to her grave, and then Leo comes up and tells him a story of, this pet frog that he had when he was a kid and what happened to that frog. And it's sort of an analogy for family is what you make of it. It's not necessarily who you're born with.
Yeah, family is who you choose, not who you're born to.
And, in that convoluted story, Riggs gets the answer he wants as to whether or not he should propose. And it's a really, really touching scene.
It's a good scene. It's really well written.
And they made use of Leo in a couple of other ways in the movie as well, where he, he's been a part of the furniture for so long now. He's a member of the family too, as annoying as he may be. And those scenes are really, really clever.
They are.
They should have had more of them and less of the fighting.
Absolutely.
Because that's the thing. I mean,
and they're going to get their asses kicked.
Franchise,
yeah, but they're going to get their asses kicked against Jet Li. There's no way Riggs and Murtaugh will actually live.
Yeah,
yeah, they'll die. That's actually the whole point of the fighting, because Murtaugh is very close to retirement in this film.
Yeah,
very close, and Riggs is basically 50, like Murtaugh was in the first film, and it's sort of like the baton's being passed of old. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
As they say in the film, and it's sort of like this could be the last lethal weapon, which till now it is. And it's sort of like one of them could die. Like that I felt a real sense that against Jet Li, one of them could actually die.
Yeah. But you didn't feel that
in 3.
You didn't in the fight scenes, especially the end fight scene, where it's the first time that Murtaugh and Riggs actually fight together against the bad guy, and
they have no chemistry in how to like you hit him and then I'll hit him.
Yeah.
They completely screw it up, and it's really great to see, because it's like this is how people would really fight. I would not.
I mean,
in
that sense, it's really great, but also
they get their asses kicked,
and they get their asses kicked, which is great. But I would expect Jet Li to kill them both. He is so clearly lethal that against these two
he's the lethal weapon in this
men,
film. They actually should have said that.
Yeah,
they really missed that opportunity.
They missed that full circle moment.
Yeah, they said he's a lethal weapon. They should have said that, or he's a lethal weapon.
Maybe that was a line that they had before the final part, and they cut it out because they went, oh no, that's too on the nose.
Yeah, but it would have been fantastic.
It would have been.
I mean, it would have made sense, since this is so far the last film.
But anyway, what do we give this one out of 10?
I give this a 7.
I give it a 6 as well. I want to give it a 7 because the family moments and the ending is
very good,
quite satisfying. But the MacGuffins are just.
It was quite tedious, but still, I like seeing that they've got the entire cast back, and like from the kids and everything. Yeah. And I thought it was a good send off.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to go as low as 6 for number 3, though, I have to go the same for number 4.
That's fair. I mean, they do have the worst use of Van Halen in any film I've ever seen in my life.
The ultimate sin for Warren.
Absolutely. Yes. So anyway.
Yep, that is our review of the Lethal Weapon franchise.
What would you call it? Our Lethal Weapon marathon.
Right.
Lethal Weapon marathon.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to cut this bit out. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. And if you agree with us, if you don't agree with us, tell us what you think. Tell us your scores out of 10. Like, subscribe, comment, but seriously, comment, because I'd really like to see what everyone's. Yeah, because I'd like to see if all my American friends out there agree with us with the accent.
Please tell us if you hear it,
because we hear it. I mean, even in part 4, I still hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, stay hydrated, everyone, especially in the ending, because in the ending of 4, they were in the water, and then they stayed really hydrated.
Yeah, that's probably a little too hydrated.
Yeah. I mean, they almost drowned.
Yeah. True. But anyway, leggings are still not pants.
In the Lethal Weapon world?
No. Why? Like, never. No.
In the 80s with the aerobics?
Oh, well, yeah, but Oh, as I've said, you can wear workout gear. It's okay.
but not pants.
Yeah, not regular pants.